Hey guys, Fred here, VE3FAL, Ontario Northwest Bushcraft and Outdoors. Sunday, September 4th. It's currently 11:35 local time here in Thunder Bay, Ontario, so 15:35 Zulu. Just going to take you guys on a quick stroll through the bands. The bands are still terrible. The Northern Lights last night were quite the spectacle from what I understand. I've been told by people that were looking at them that they were extremely bright, so I mean, that means we've had some solar storms, we've had some solar flares, we've had a little bit of everything going on here this week. So been a crazy week when it comes to the band conditions. So just going to take you guys for a really quick stroll here from 9 megs here up to probably 15 megs and just see what's on the band. The bands are terrible. I mean, you can see looking at the scope, there isn't a whole lot on right now. And we got WWV here, which they're not very loud. And again, I'm running the Chameleon Micro with, I think it's a 50-foot wire that came with it. I'm not 100% sure, but that's what I'm running right now in a horizontal position, of course. So, scooch through the ham band. Lots of strange noises. Like, there's nothing on the scope even. It's just crazy. So we get into 11 megs. You guys can see some really strange noises on the scope. You know, as a kid listening to shortwave, times have really changed, of course. And my very first introduction to shortwave, believe it or not, was using an AM radio. Well, maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was my grandparents' old radio, tube radio that they had brought over from Finland. But it's going to be pretty close. My very first introduction, I think, with shortwave was using an AM radio. And I wrapped a wire around it, a long wire actually around the antenna inside the AM radio. And what was happening was I was overloading the radio. So I detuned the radio from the AM band. And Radio Canada International was probably the first shortwave station that I think I ever heard. And the next one would probably be Voice of America back in the day. And then, of course, you know, from there, that's before I even got into high school. I was playing with electronics. I had kits. You know, I had the 101-in-1 electronic kit. So you would build an AM radio, a crystal radio. You would build a shortwave radio. I then ended up with the little perf board or plastic perf board shortwave kit. And you had to wind the coils for each band. I still have that radio. And then from there, it was the Globe Patrol shortwave receiver, which I still have. And then my friend Zeno and myself actually rebuilt and fixed up the shortwave radio that my grandparents had. And I actually made my own dial for it, for the bands. And I mean, that radio worked so well. Whatever happened to it to this day, I have no idea. That's so many years ago. And then, you know, of course, I got into high school. And once I got into high school, I got involved with ham radio. From the age of 16 on, guess what? That's been with me. And of course, Mr. Kimpton, Dave Kimpton, back in school was also a shortwave listener. There was a bunch of us. There was Ed Mackey and myself and a bunch of others that had our own little shortwave club. And, you know, we would take the radios home from school and sign out the radios. The Frog 7 was one of those radios. And we would bring that home. I had an SX-110, Helicrafters SX-110, and a bunch of other radios that I would receive on as well. So, I mean, that's just a start. There's so much that I'd probably forget, you know, back in the day. Anyway, I digress. Let's just see what's on. We see some signals here.
cumpleaños se volvieron cantando nosotros.
You know, the bands used to be so alive, and Gilles, what is it, official shortwave listener? Let me just look it up. I want to make sure here that I've got Gilles' channel right. Maybe I'll try to leave a link to his channel too. Yeah, so Gilles, who has his channel is the official shortwave listening channel. He is amazing when it comes to knowledge and experience and stuff with shortwave. Check his channel out. I'll leave a link in the description below once I edit the video. But even back in the day, Gilles was a member of many of the shortwave listening clubs that I belong to. You know, I belong to Candex, CIDX. There were a couple out of California. Of course, we had a number of them across Canada. I was a utility editor for a couple of them, where I did like utility stuff when it come to, you know, that would have been aeronautical, maritime, marine, communications on HF, things like that, numbers stations, spy stations, you name it. Those are the types of things that we would list and that we would you know, put into the shortwave magazines. So I don't see much here on the spectrum, so let's just scooch up here again. There's usually some stuff around 13. Okay, we see a couple signals there. That should be WWCR. There's a noise spike. Okay, we're into the 20-meter hand band, so let's just scooch through here. And this should be WWV on 15. So there's WWV, time signal station on 15 megs.
At the tone, 15 hours, 44 minutes, coordinated universal time.
All right. So let's just see. And you know, there was a bunch of Volmet stations that you could hear. But the bands are just terrible.
Mirror TV, MTV, and Sky TV on Baxi Darshan TV. In Peru on Asiri TV. In Awalcia and Chile on Tele Amigos. In Ancash on DKR. In Cañete on Cable Cañete. In Cerro de Pasco on Andina TV. In Cusco on Incatel. In Moncayo on Cable Red.
Wednesday and Thursday at 7 p.m. Central on 4.840 megahertz. Thank you for listening and supporting the Divided Kingdom on Worldwide Christian Radio.
WWCR.
Nashville, Tennessee, USA.
Welcome to Frank Shelton's podcast.
They've always got a good signal. Anyway, I don't think I'll hear too much up here. 17 megs used to have a bunch of radio stations as well. I mean, the bands were used depending on where the stations were broadcasting. You know, there was various relay stations. There was all kinds of bands that would be open to different parts of the world, you know. So, you know, once again, I just figured I'd take you for a really quick tour through the band here today, even though we're under really crappy band conditions. So, guys, check out Gilles and the official Shortwave listening channel. Check them out. I'll leave a link in the description here once I edit the video and go through it. But, you know, like I said, I just wanted to give you guys a quick stroll here through the bands this morning and just see what's on, which there's not a whole lot. So, and then, you know, just a little bit of my, I guess, shortwave background, which I really do miss real shortwave radio. Gilles had a great show on, a live show the other night. And there was a bunch of us actually that were, you know, asking him to play the interlude for, you know, a couple different stations there. The interval signal, I guess is the word I'm looking for, that they would play on the hour, on the half hour, on the 15 minutes. And I'll tell you, man, my gosh, it brought back a lot of shortwave memories. And there's so much stuff out there. There was so much stuff out there. I mean, the bands were live. The bands were hopping back in the day. So anyway, have yourself a great day, guys, and have a great weekend, what's left of it. Once again, we're in a long weekend here in Canada. So tomorrow's a holiday, a stat holiday for lots. It's Labor Day weekend. And there's lots going on. There's fairs and stuff happening here this weekend around the area. So take care, guys. Stay safe. This is Fred, VE3FAL, Ontario, Northwest Bushcraft Outdoors, 7-3, guys.